Good day, markers. I'm the senior teacher for grade 11 English at UCT Online High, and I'm going to be going through the grade 11 English paper 2 literature exam, the first version specifically. So I want to look at question 1 and 7, which are the two essay questions. Before I get into question 1, just a very friendly and grateful reminder to please read through the instructions throughout the marking guide, because there's a long list of them and they are important. All right, so with this first question, the essay question, which is not compulsory, it's very important that you're very familiar with the text, because it's almost impossible to think of every potential thing a child could say, especially when discussing literary devices and the child having to find examples from the poem. So just make sure you're very familiar with the text, and this is true of all essay marking. So very important here is that the child has to discuss diction and imagery as related to this tone of appreciation. So plenty of examples have been provided. Of course, the learner doesn't have to say all of them, and the learner can also still potentially come up with points that aren't there but are valid and must be given merit. Just to look at these last two bullet points. In terms of the poetry essay rubric, only award a mark in the skillful or exceptional ranges, which are the two highest categories, if the learner explores diction, imagery, and a tone of appreciation as per this topic. So I've given examples of what that looks like just to help you. And then also very important, when you're referring to the rubric, be aware that it's very rare that children get marks from the elementary and inadequate categories. So just to scroll down, like I say, for the exceptional and skillful categories, a child does have to really abide by the topic and engage with the poem and structure their essay, not quite correctly, but there has to be evidence of structure. However, for them to get in the elementary or inadequate categories, and I'm talking for both content and structure and language, it has to be a very, very poor essay. It's rare, particularly the inadequate category, that a child will be marked from there. So as examples, you will only award marks from these two lowest categories if the learner only addresses the poem a few times. So they barely even mention the poem in their essay. The learner does not engage with the topic at all. Let's say in this example, the learner doesn't mention diction or imagery at all, and they discuss something completely different. If there's absolutely no structure, so for example, it's just one long paragraph, or the learner jumps wildly between points, or there's absolutely no evidence of an introduction or conclusion. And then also if language use is very poor meaning every sentence has major errors, whether grammatical, punctuation, or spelling. So most of the time you will sit around moderate and skillful, but of course it will vary from child to child. But please just note that these lower categories are quite rarely used, because if you look at what they total out of the total mark, it's very, very low. We do have to bear in mind that we're working with very young people. All right, moving through. Before I get to question 7, please note that there's a lot of information in the guidance to the marker, which has been put there to really help you. So there's lots of alternative answers for almost all of the questions. So please have a look at them. They're as valid as the answer written up in orange, but the answer in orange tends to be the one that will most probably come up. But these are equally valuable. So please have a look. And it's also indicated how many marks you can award for each point that I've provided here. Bearing in mind a slash always shows that the options are interchangeable. So just getting all the way now to question 7. Again, of course, an essay, and of course this is compulsory and it's on Macbeth, which you do need to be very, very familiar with. So basically in this topic, they need to explore the theme of appearance versus reality. They should make reference to the particular quote provided in the play as an example. They don't have to discuss those two suggested points, the deceptive nature of the witch's prophecies, etc., but they can. So if they don't, that's also fine. They might provide equally valid points. Again, there are a whole lot of points provided to assist you. And then just again, it still applies. Skillful or exceptional, the learner has to have analyzed this theme thoroughly with substantiation in the form of evidence from the play, so paraphrased events, words, etc., or quotes, as well as explanations linking this evidence to the theme that they are discussing. And again, the only way that a learner will be awarded from those lower two categories is if they've only addressed the play a few times, they don't engage with the topic, no structure, language use very poor. I really hope that that assists you, and thank you for everything you are doing, on best of luck with the marking.